Hello, viewers. Welcome to this week's episode of Local Content and You. This program is designed to bring you up to date with the good works as well as events happening at the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB, in Yenagoa and beyond. In today's program, we'll bring you details from the recently concluded Research and Development R&D Fair and Conference organized by the NCDMB here in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State. The R&D Fair, which is the second edition the board has organized so far, is in line with the provisions of the Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry Content Development (NOGIC) Act of 2010, Section 36 and 39, which mandates the board to oversee research and development activities in the oil and gas industry. One key purpose for the R&D Fair and Conference is to provide a platform to enable industry players, investors, and finance enterprises, manufacturing companies, and the academia to exchange ideas and discuss issues concerning collaboration, funding, and commercialization of R&D breakthroughs. The fair will also give researchers the opportunity to showcase their research findings and new innovations. The R&D Fair and Conference, which attracted dignitaries and stakeholders alike, had the Governor of Bayelsa State, Senator Doye Idiri, and the Honorable Minister for State Petroleum Resources, Timipri Silva, in attendance. While delivering the keynote address, the Honorable Minister for State Petroleum Resources, Timipri Silva, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Dr. Nasil Sani Gozo, commended the NCDMB for conceptualizing and sustaining the fair, adding that it will stimulate the oil and gas industry to invest in R&D as a key component of their business model.
The theme, creating sustainable collaboration in research and development for the energy industry and its linkage sectors, is timely as it captures our collective commitment to aggressively drive innovation and position our industry on the path of an integrated energy sector, where field development and production solutions are sourced through local capabilities. I congratulate the NCDMB for sustaining the tempo of interest since the maiden R&D Fair. In 2019, private sector practitioners in the ICT, hardware and electronic equipment sector, pharmaceutical and biotechnology sector, automobiles and component sector cumulatively spent over $528 billion on R&D, representing 22% of the $2.3 trillion global R&D spend. The essence of this data analysis is to reinforce the importance of our local service companies to embrace investment in research and development as a key component of their business model. It is therefore my expectation that this research and development fair will provide the needed stimulus. I encourage the private sector to replicate the global practice by complementing the Nigerian Content Research and Development Fund and actively supporting the government's drive in upscaling our national research architecture.
On his part, the Governor of Bayelsa State, Senator Doye Idiri, who was represented by his deputy, Senator Lawrence Arujakpo, in his address at the R&D event, also commended the Local Content Board for the numerous projects cited in the state. Senator Arujakpo re-echoed the importance of research and development, especially in a growing economy like Bayelsa State.
We want to also appreciate the Content Board for the various infrastructure and projects that they've cited in the state. ranging from the gas turbine to the gas cylinder manufacturing, and then the shipyard industry that will be at brass. The role of R&D can never be emphasized. Clearly, a problem cannot be solved by the same level of thinking that created it. As for you to solve the problem, the thinking must be above the thinking that created the problem. And that is the objective of R&D. And so over the years, it appears that especially for us in our country, and especially for us in our industry, we have always thought within the level that created the problem. So we are happy today that we are taking the first bold and concerted step towards ensuring that we improve on our local content in terms of what we can do for ourselves. Where we are today is good, but where we are going to be tomorrow with research and development will be better. And where we'll be next tomorrow will be the best. And so a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a positive thinking that leads you in the right direction. And so we are happy today, and as a government, we will be willing to make our contributions, not necessarily financial, but the creation of the conducive environment, because it's what you use and available that you use to welcome a king when he visits you. And so we're making and creating the enabling environment for striving of this R&D initiative, which is key to us. So we believe that while we are talking about R&D, the local capacity to do that should not be ignored or overlooked. It's going to go a long way to save us a lot of foreign flights, capital flights that will have incurred as a result of really looking outwards to look at what will be best for our industry.
The theme for this year's edition of the R&D Fair and Conference is Creating Sustainable Collaboration in Research and Development for the Energy Industry and its linkage sector. Speaking earlier during his opening speech, the Executive Secretary of NCDMB, Engineer Simbi Kesie Wabote, emphasized that research and development is pivotal to the growth and development of any nation, adding that it plays a crucial role in opening new chapters of modern life.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure and joy and happiness that I welcome you all to this edition of NCDMB Research and Development Fair and Conference 2021. My opening remark is essentially focused on why we are devoting resource and time to research and development in NCDMB. Research and development is pivotal to the growth and development of any nation, and I dare say to the evolution of mankind. Right from the days of the cavemen to the current age of global connectivity, research and development always play a crucial role in opening up new chapters of modern life. We are currently at the fourth industrial revolution with cloud computing, Internet of Things, robotics, big data, artificial intelligence, and many more being the hallmark of the current age. The fourth industrial revolution has made it possible to order for a private jet from your handphone or see who is at the door of your home in Lagos while you're on a business trip to Yenagoa, Bayelsa State. All these are made possible via research and development. And we have not seen the end of it because we are just scratching the surface. There will be more industrial revolutions down the line, and the big question is, why are we not, as a country, at the forefront of the discoveries or innovate to adopt existing technologies to our needs?
We'll take a quick break now. When we return, we'll bring you comments from some delegates from the academia at the fair. Welcome back. As part of the activities lined up for this year's edition of the R&D Fair, there were exhibitions by universities and inventors, as well as technical discussions by academics and stakeholders in oil and gas on strategies for generating demand-driven research that would solve practical problems and improve the operations of the oil and gas industry. A senior lecturer and acting head of department, Electrical Engineering Department in the Niger Delta University NDU, Engineer Dr. Priye Kenneth Aina, while speaking on the numerous benefits of the R&D Fair, recounts his team's research and innovation efforts, which includes a locally made wind turbine.
We are here to showcase some of the ideas that we have and some of the work that we are working on regarding things, more of the things that have to do with oil and gas. Presently, we are looking at the 1,000 barrel refinery. We are designing it. In fact, we are finished with the design. But although, as an institution, we don't have license for it, we have designed it. Some of the things that we are working on now is how to get the license and also to start working on the process. We're also doing bioremediation. We're also working on bioremediation. We're also looking at ASP, alkaline surfactant, polymer for enhanced oil recovery. We are looking at research in those areas. And also, we are like 90% in oil and gas, but we are also looking at other areas like renewable energy. Just recently, we showcased some of the things that we did on renewable energy, using local material to build the domestic wind farm, wind turbine for power generation. One of our researchers were able to use local materials to actually build domestic wind turbine. And more so, here, what we came with is more on oil and gas. That's why we came with all the research in oil and gas.
Commenting on the essence and benefits of the R&D Fair, the Vice Chancellor of Niger Delta University NDU, Professor Samuel Edomie-Kumo, commended the NCDMB for initiating the event and for choosing NDU Amasoma as one of the research and development excellence centers, adding that the move will greatly benefit the institution. He further urged students of Bayelsa State's origin to come up with research innovations so they can also benefit from the R&D fund.
And let me use the opportunity to thank the content development department because this is the first time we are having this kind of collaboration. And you all know that research and development is key to the development of every economy. And then if we come to the industry, this oil and gas industry, we've been having all that's required from overseas. And then now that they are collaborating with us, following the mandate, really help the industry. Because universities will now be fully involved, and most of these research outcomes that they have been using can be done within Nigeria. And so I'm very happy for this initiative. Niger Delta University is one of those centers. Niger Delta University has Center for Engineering Excellence from the Content Development and Monitoring Board. So if Niger Delta University and other researchers that are from the Bayelsa State, if they will put in their best, they will access this fund. What they need is result and see how serious you have. Any product that will be able to help the growth of the industry, they will finance it. So Bayelsa State will enjoy it. And for us in Niger Delta University, we are very happy because we are hosting the center. So definitely we will benefit from it. Already we have some products we are working on, and I think they will sponsor.
On his part, the president of Garden City Premier Business School, Port Harcourt, Dr. Silva Opoala Charles, who also commended the NCDMB management for putting the fairing conference together, said that the initiative will kickstart a chain of positive events that will turn things around in the Niger Delta and Bayelsa State. He affirmed that there has always been a connection between R&D investments and economic development.
R&D is too important to ignore. In fact, I commend SDMB and SIMBI particularly because this is a very strategic move. There is a relationship between R&D investments and economic development. Okay? There are a lot of literature on that. So taking this initiative is very important for the Niger Delta, for the oil and gas industry. You know very well that most of the IOCs are already pulling back on oil and investments. So this is a very novel thing. The thing that is happening now is renewable energy. It's R&D that will really open the door for that. And so local content board leading this new idea, this revolution, is quite important because we need new language, we need new perspective, and that new perspective will only come through R&D. So I think it's a very fundamental initiative, and it will really transform the Niger Delta, transform Nigeria, and then even Bayelsa State. We're going to see a lot of things happening because of this.
From the technical sessions held at the R&D fair, panelists established that an enabling regulatory framework backed by legislation such as the NOGIC Act 2010, periodic gap analysis, structured capacity building interventions, monetary incentives, and the creation of market access are key parameters to focus on in order to improve R&D investments in the oil and gas industry. The chairman of Heritage Times, Moses Siloko Siasia, who described the R&D fair and conference as a welcome development, emphasized that it is one of the surest ways to transform the deficiencies in the oil and gas industry into windows of opportunities. He commended the Local Content Board for hosting this year's edition of the R&D fairing in Igoa, Bayelsa State, stressing that the decision in itself is a key factor for development.
This is very timely for both global, continental, and also national development because any society will live in the fourth industrial realm. Research and development is very key to accelerate growth in the oil and gas industry. And, with this kind of conference, put together great resource of personalities that are into research and development sectors, trying to make use of the opportunity available in the oil and gas industry to build competence, to advance our technological framework. And I believe that this is the surest way in which we can turn the challenges that I've said earlier into windows of opportunity.
The General Manager, Research and Statistics at NCDMB, Abdulmalik Alilu, while emphasizing the importance of R&D investments, took time to highlight some of the numerous positive contributions that the R&D fair and conference made in the narrative and economy of the nation and Bayelsa State in particular.
The oil and gas industry is heavily dependent on technology in terms of inputs required for field development, exploration, and production activities. The entire technology requirements of the industry depend on research and development. So as a local content organization, our responsibility is to promote research so that we can begin to develop those technology solutions in country. That we're promoting is the Niger Delta University. They are the Center of Excellence for Engineering. So I'm sure you're aware that NGU is a state-owned university. Then we also have the Olebri Museum and Research Center at Olebri, the heartbeat of oil discovery in Nigeria. So there's a plan to set up a museum there, but most importantly, a research testing center. One of the bottlenecks to research is the lack of areas where you can actually do your field trials. So that testing center enables that to happen. And we're sure that we can accelerate product validation and acceptance once we are able to finish that center. The other thing is the annual competition. The Technology Incubation Center that was inaugurated today will be a center where youths will be challenged to come up with solutions to various problems. NDU, Federal University of Turkey, and indeed other youths within Bielsa have the opportunity to log into the app, provide their own thinking around how solutions can be solved, and then we go through a process of selection. If they're able to make the criteria, then of course they'll be incubated in the incubation center. So there's a lot for Bielsa state governments to benefit from. Then of course, many people are just coming to Yenagoa. So that ability to even pull people here creates that awareness in terms of, Bielsa is a peaceful place, Bielsa has direct flights, Bielsa has good roads, good hotels. And I think the narrative will definitely change through what we have succeeded in doing today.
Also, the General Manager, Capacity Building Division, NCDMB, Dr. Ama Ikuru, spoke on the economic benefits of the fair to Bielsa State. He highlights the various R&D complaint facilities set up in the state by the local content board, including the just commissioned Innovation and Incubation Center, stressing that the reason is to attract companies in need of such facilities to set up branches in Bielsa State.
Our real wish is that companies that do, take up opportunities in the oil and gas industry will actually embrace the opportunity presented by this fair. Now, if you have companies doing real research and development and actually developing products, they will set up in Yenagoa. Yenagoa has a lot of unique advantages. We have this building, we have research and development. We have the innovation hub we have set up here. We have advanced laboratories and things like that. So companies can actually come use this facility to do their research and development. We have the no gap park at MAL. So we have facility there, we have power. We need uninterrupted power to some form of research and development. Yeah? So we have that in Bielsa. So if companies want to succeed in their research and development, one of the best destinations is cinema. They need to come here. They need to look at what we're doing. They need to take advantage of the yeah. And if they succeed in setting up the Yenagoa, then the benefits will direct to the society. People will stay in hotels when they come, they will enjoy services. People will build houses, people will build great employment for people in Yenagoa. So if it happens, Yenagoa will be the biggest, beneficiary for what we're doing.
The Director, Planning, Research and Statistics, NCDMB, Patrick Oba, who emphasized his satisfaction with the level of success recorded at the R&D fair, also took time to highlight some areas where Bielsa State benefited from hosting this year's R&D fair and conference.
I've received quite a lot of messages commending the ES, myself and my team for organizing such a wonderful R&D event. Everybody knows that R&D is a hard stuff, tough stuff, because people say it's a dry area. But when you see people staying up to this time, then you discover that there is so much value they derive from that event, and that is what actually gives me the happiness that you can see is exuding right in my face at the moment. Where you spend the night is where you spend your money to have dinner. So Yenagoa hosted a lot of people overnight, and of course people had to eat, so they spent their money in Yenagoa. And again, of course, the airport in Yenagoa, I heard the flights were fully booked, and that's a big plus to the state, and of course high level of confidence to the airline operators that there is business in Yenagoa. So we expect continuous business in the airline sector. Also, there is hope in the hospitality sector, the hotels. I believe with this kind of event, you see that they will be more prepared for similar events going forward. And again, especially in this area where there are so many negative stories going around, it also tells a whole lot of, good things about the state. We are all here. People are happy that we are here. There are no incidents. We are indeed very happy that God has been able to keep us here alive, and we are definitely going to go back home alive. So the story is that the environment is safe for investment and is safe for tourism.
At the end of this year's successful R&D fair and conference, the guests, delegates, and other participants were treated to a performance by the award-winning Bayelsa Cultural Dance Troupe, who entertained alongside the Igbiligbili Dance Group of Amasoma. And that's all we have for you this week. It has been our pleasure having your company in this episode once again. Please join us next week, same time and station, as we bring you more of the good works and happenings at the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB. For now, goodbye and stay safe.
Thank you.